Oh my God. Hi. Sorry that I'm late. Don't be mad at me. Sorry that I'm late. Welcome. When were you guys ever on time? I actually like being on time. So shout out to I don't know why I'm late today, but welcome. Hey BJ. Guys, welcome BJ. Shout out to BJ in the chat. Make sure you follow her channel. Oh, we. Welcome everybody. I see a lot of my beautiful, wonderful members in the house. In mi casa, thank you. Chico, can you also drop your channel, please? Because before I get started, I want to shout you out on something. Please and thank you. But let me start with some hellos. Nebby, Heidi, Dee Dee, welcome, Jen, welcome, everybody. Chico, who else? Who else do I see in here? Marina, welcome. Jen, welcome, y'all. Welcome to my house. Welcome. Shauna B, welcome. Adam says, I'm very curious about what happened. Oh, we're going to talk about that. All right. I promise y'all we will talk about that. Randall from Iowa. I wonder what happened with Alexa. She's legitimately a victim and she's such a force to be reckoned with. Yes, we're going to talk about that. And by the way, this is not a I'm gonna shit on Alexa type of live. Not at all. If anything, I'm glad that she did the live yesterday. We'll talk about that in here in a little bit, and I'll give you guys my perspective and just my thought. I personally don't know Alexa. I have shared her videos before, so for me, I'm giving outside commentary of that said situation. I know she's had a pretty rough couple of months. It sounds like some of us were not necessarily privy to it, like myself. We had heard some rumblings and stuff like that, but for me, this is about just having a conversation about eat predators, survivors. Shout out to Adam McIntyre as well, and just all this stuff that's kind of playing forward for us to kind of figure out and how to consume this a little bit. So I wanted to have a conversation about that. But before I get started, my beautiful, wonderful mod, who is a creator by the name of Chico, is really following the Tyree Nichols case. And just so everybody's aware, officers that are charged with the Tyree Nichols murder are going to or go to federal trial. Keep that in mind. I'm going to ask you guys, Chico has been on it when it comes to a lot of stuff that's happening in Tennessee. So Chico, please drop your channel so we can get, updates and stuff like that. I have not been following a lot of this that's been happening, but you have. And so I feel like I'm giving you the floor to do so. But I definitely want you guys to pay attention to what's going on because a lot of ins and outs to this case involving these officers. And I think Chico is the best one to break it down. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you. All right. We're gonna get right into it. So let me start by reading a couple comments. Well, let me give you guys a little timeline before I do that. Yesterday I did a live and I was talking about, a lot of the Lincoln Park stuff has been happening, has been brewing, the SPTV stuff. Emily Armstrong, who is, in my opinion, a Scientologist, whether she publicly wants to recognize that or not. Sounds like she is, I guess, the lead singer of Lincoln Park. Okay. And so people spoke out against that because Emily, along with other Scientologist people, attacked a lot of the Jane Does in court and really made it and took it upon themselves to essentially attack these Jane Doe victims of Danny Masterson. Okay. So that's been happening. We've been following it. Shout out to Aaron, Serge, and everybody that's been talking. I think Serge is even talking about it right now. Okay. Well, as I was prepping to do that live, I was watching Adam McIntyre. Love Adam McIntyre. I'm a fan. Love Adam. First of all, I have so much admiration for Adam and when he spoke out against Colleen Ballinger, knowing what that was going to do to him, knowing the pushback, repercussions, the fans, didn't give a shit and brings it all out. And I think that that's one thing that I really admire about Adam McIntyre is that he just brings it, and let whatever lands how it may, you either like it or you don't. And I love that. I don't know. It's something about him that I really love. And that how he has handled himself on this platform, I think is an inspiration to a lot of victims. Yes, I adore him. And by the way, oh my God, my whim just gifted 5 memberships. You guys, please put some hearts in the chat if you got a little membership from Whim. Thank you. Yes. Alexa and Serge both protested with Lara. So I was very happy that Serge hit the link later. So let me get to my point. So I was watching Adam, and at about the 6 minute mark, Adam makes a revelation about an attorney that was hired to represent Eat Predators and Alexa Nichols. And it looks like it's one of the attorneys that at least Serge described as a Scientologist type of attorney, or at least supporters of Scientologists and supporters of perpetrators, who has represented Prince Andrew, Army Hammer, a bunch of controversial individuals. Okay. Also supported Danny Masterson, represented Danny Masterson in the civil case. So while I was watching Adam say this, I literally had a bit of shock happen, right? I said, wait a minute. It kind of felt like somebody just took the wind out of me when I heard that, because I know that I know that Alexa has really been about victims, and I still believe that she is. I think that she's going through this journey herself, and we'll get to that here in a minute. But when I heard her, when I heard Adam say that there is a document that he, has in his possession, and he can't really say who, that it was sent to him in 2024, that basically it's out of the legal lawyer offices of, what is his name? My God, why am I losing his name? I've been typing it all over. Sorry about that. Andrew Bretlin, or excuse me, Andrew Bretler. It's typed Andrew Bretler. And so Andrew Bretler, he's done interviews openly about representing Danny Masterson on the civil case and his role in his representation. Okay. So I literally had a reaction. I went live last night and talked about it. Brought Adam's video. A lot of folks in the chat were like, I'm so confused. What is going on? And it took people some minutes to kind of catch up. Mandy, I think you were in her live last night, because I saw you in the chat too. I think a lot of you guys might have been in her live, and people were tagging me in her live too. So I wasn't shocked. And I know, Mandy, you have been protesting. You have been doing all kinds of stuff, to bring awareness to Scientology and stuff like that. So it took a lot of us by surprise. So allegedly, in our opinion, that's what happened. Okay, I'm going to say that because I didn't see the document. I know Adam came into my comments and he talked about the document and he answered some questions, because I literally had to rewind what he was saying. Well, the day before, Adam and Alexa were having a little situation on Twitter. They were going back and forth on Twitter, and a lot was being exposed on Twitter, including documents from the Drake Bell victim, the minor victim. And a lot of it was just, it was revealing, because you're kind of wondering, aren't these things sealed? Isn't there a minor involved? What does this look like? What is going on? Alexa goes live yesterday and she starts talking about, what has been happening, why she's been off the internet for the last 2 months. Alexa, for those that don't know, was on Zoe 101. She's a survivor. She has really taken Eat Predators to the next level of, advocacy and protesting and bringing awareness to victims, especially those that have been impacted by Hollywood, by Nickelodeon, because that's her story, right? And I have always admired Alexa for that. My understanding, I was under the impression, and I learned some stuff yesterday. I was under the impression that Eat Predators was a 501c. It looks like that's not the case. It is not a nonprofit. It's a for-profit. Some of you guys might know more about that than I do, but y'all let me know in the chat. So when I heard that, I was like very confused, because there are people that were working with her to make signs. Those protests, because they go out there and they protest in front of sometimes Scientology, sometimes Nickelodeon, Disney, whatever the location may be, right? And it was kind of like, all right, so like, what is the issue exactly? What's going on? Well, she's been off the internet, and I think, well, at least for me, I noticed a bit of a people going after Alexa. I'm just gonna say this, my opinion. You guys might have a different experience, but it seemed to me that people were going after Alexa as soon as the Quiet on the Set documentary dropped because of Drake Bell being there. I believe about a year and a half ago, she had done a video on Drake Bell, exposing Drake Bell, or at least basically denouncing Drake Bell back then. She decides to private that Drake Bell video right around the time this documentary of Quiet on the Set was going to drop. And she gets a lot of backlash, in part because people felt like there's a lot of hypocrisy happening here. You're not standing for the victims. What are you doing? Drake Bell is a perpetrator. Like, why are you supporting Drake Bell? So it was a lot that was happening. Alexa at the time felt like she was getting misinformation about what actually happened in Drake Bell's case. So she decided to private that video. And one of her last videos that she did was about 2 months ago, and it was on Ariana Grande. And I remember being in the chat and, sharing the video, supporting, because that's what you do. Definitely feel like her message is strong. She is a force to be reckoned with. I really like Alexa. But people couldn't really shake away the hypocrisy. They felt like there was some hypocrisy. So yesterday, Alexa comes back. She came back yesterday. She was actually coming back on Twitter, kind of fighting back with people. And I think a lot of it has been a lot of build up for her. I don't want to psychoanalyze Alexa. That's not my job to psychoanalyze anybody, right? But I would imagine that, if you are getting asked questions and you're not giving a really good response, or at least what the people are trying to hear from you, you're gonna get hit. You got to know how to talk to people about this, right? Especially if you are a victim advocate or a supporter of victims or a survivor. Those are things, and you represent Eat Predators, girl. Let me tell you something. When I think of Eat Predators, I think of a title, I think of something that is aggressively going after those that harm others. Does that make sense? Like, I don't think I could ever do it. Let me just say this. I think it's a very hard job to have. When I think of Eat Predators, well, thank you, my love. Thank you, BJ. When I think of Eat Predators, I think of a group, a unstoppable group that's going to go after people, and they're just going to go out there and expose you, chew your ass out, stand with victims. But part of being able to stand with victims, right? You also have to understand the cycle. Okay. There is this cycle that happens. They teach you this in grad school too. They teach you this, in various areas of work, if you work in the helping field. Typically, if the victim doesn't get any help or support, the victim can become the abuser and then victimize more people. And people have to be able to stand up and say, shit, I can't be doing this. See, somebody did this to me, so I can't do this to somebody else. Victims aren't supposed to be perfect. Survivors aren't supposed to be perfect. Nobody is. Nobody is. But when you are hurting folks, somebody hurt you, you got to be able to figure this out. And sometimes it takes the justice system to call you out. Okay. Sometimes it takes somebody else to call you out. Sometimes you have to hit rock bottom because the cycle doesn't stop. And honestly, that's how I see Drake Bell. All right. Now I'm going to tell you how I feel. Okay. About Drake Bell. Jill, my love, thank you so much for gifting a membership. Shout out to you. Alexa talked about, she was so busy eating predators. She was eating predators, which makes sense to me, right? She's on the go, go, go. One of the things that Alexa has, and I'm not diagnosing, but I did work in the field of people that help people. And I was supervising people, you guys. I was supervising people. I feel like Alexa personally was living through vicarious trauma, meaning that you hear a person's survivor story and your reaction can be very negative or so much action oriented that you impact those that are around you, or you are maneuvering in a way that could very well be detrimental to you, right? Give you an example. Supervising folks. Okay. I'm a social worker. I supervise other social workers. And if you are a child of CPS or abuse, or you had some kind of experience like that, it is very likely, very, very likely that you're going to project what is happening, what happened, to you onto your clients. That is very real. And that could be very difficult. You have to be able to take yourself out of that, right? Out of that. Take yourself out of that. Take yourself out of that. And you have to be able to evaluate the information that you have as it's presented, because you won't be valuable to the people that you're trying to help. You can't be. If I'm working with the glass half, what is it, filled? Is that what the saying is? Working with the glass that's half filled. How can I expect that others are going to be okay around me? When you're in an airport, you get on your airplane, who do they say to put the mask first before you put it on your child or the person next to you? You have to do it first before you help the next person. That's how it is. That's how it is in the helping field. So my initial reaction when I saw Alexa talk about all of this was really like, wow, Alexa, you got a lot of vicarious trauma, and I really hope that you figure this out. And it might be, individually, it sounds like she's in therapy. That's amazing, but she's got to revisit that, because she truly she carries a lot of these stories, whether it's in Hollywood or somewhere else. If you're able to address that, you'll be able to understand why your audience is struggling with you being in support or having any level of understanding with Drake Bell. Does that make sense? Like, yes, the walking wounded. So Drake Bell, in my opinion, you cannot deny what Drake Bell did. You can't pussyfoot around it. You can't just act like, oh, that shit didn't happen, or he's a victim. Yeah, he's a victim. And like Adam McIntyre said yesterday, you cannot invalidate his story. You shouldn't. I love that Adam said that in his video, because he's absolutely 100% on that. You cannot invalidate his story. Okay? You can't. Yes, it's very, the what is it? He appeared in the second and third episode the most, and it really took over like a life, and we didn't even know. Alexa said, I didn't know about Drake Bell until maybe 10 hours after the documentary. That could very well be the case. But because you lead this movement online and outside, and you're out there protesting, people are going to look at you, girl. They are. They're just going to look at you, and they're going to say, hey, listen, wait a minute. What about my story? What about the minor story? What about their story? And instead of getting really defensive about that, you got to sit back and say, you know what? Drake Bell, I can have empathy for this person who turned into a perpetrator. Yeah, I can do that. I can have empathy for this person who perpetrated on another. That's right, Ononora. That's absolutely right. It doesn't change what happened to them, but it never justifies the crimes. Both are true. Let me give you guys an example. Shout out to the person that sent me the article about Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein is a piece of shit. Nobody's going to disagree with me, right? I have somebody, thank you so much for sending me this article. Harvey Weinstein, right now as we speak, was rushed into the hospital for emergency heart surgery. I don't feel like for me, it's like, damn, do I feel empathy This man hurt a lot of people. And then he, like, this guy is a complete monster. And he's used his position of power to harm others. I'm not the type to wish death on folks personally, but I'm like, well, listen, I hope that they repair his heart, because I still feel like he needs to sit in jail for the next however many years he's been sentenced. Because let me tell you, you're not ready to be taken out. Like, you need to sit there in jail still. Okay. That's just being human. It's okay to recognize when, perpetrators have, at one point were victims and also have harmed others, and vice versa. Somebody hurt that perpetrator. Somebody hurt Drake Bell, right? And then he perpetrated on others. But the thing about Drake Bell, and the thing that I side eye, is that he's over here living his life, and his best life, in Mexico, right? And in Mexico, there's a different culture and custom when it comes to young girls dating older men. So I kind of wonder about that, and I do question it a little bit, that I'm like, yeah, no, Drake Bell, I don't know how I feel about you. I really don't. Yeah, Drake Bell fans, I don't know how I feel about you. Okay? I don't have a relationship with Drake Bell, and I can call that shit out. I mean, I can. You know? That's just how I feel. Should we let me read the comments. Look at you guys. I know I started us off I went on a tangent, but I wanted to drive that point home, okay? Let me see what some of you guys are saying. Thank you so much. Everybody that's coming through, guys, thank you for hitting the like button. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Exactly. He was a victim too. And that needs to be acknowledged, because he became a perpetrator probably because of that in his case. You can acknowledge that. You can acknowledge that. So when Alexa talked about the fact, I'm over here eating predators. That's what I'm doing. I'm consuming this situation, but I'm forgetting the roots. And I think really what she's talking about is the fact that the cycle that if the perpetrator doesn't address these issues, he's going to continue to, or the victim that then becomes a perpetrator doesn't address that, he's going to continue to victimize others. And everybody is basically fucked if you don't address that. That's the best way to put it. That is true. And not all victims, thank you, become perpetrators, but it does happen. And shout out to the people. Okay. And let me tell you, I'm a victim too, but I don't talk about what exactly it was or anything. I will say this. You do have to take a stand. You do have to say, listen, I'm not going to hurt people. I can't do this. I'm not going to do that. I can't. But it is what it is. Yes, I did, Wim. I got to figure it out. I wanted to, it was so wrinkly, so I had to put something in there. Shout out to Wim. I didn't become a perpetrator. I became an advocate for children. Shout out to Jen. Thank you. Some think that swimming under power and chewing off little pieces for themselves will sustain. It will not. Absolutely. It won't. It won't. Thank you for sharing that. You can break the cycle. And part of Eat Predators needs to be that. How do you break that cycle? How do you break that cycle? Because you can do all of that and continue to expose folks, Sometimes it takes exposing for people to understand, like, hey, man, you got to stop hiding under this thing. You got to start doing X, Y, and Z. That does happen. Thank you, Mandy. Oh, thank you, Mandy, for gifting. If you guys got a membership for Mandy, please put a heart in the chat. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so I did see Adam, and I saw, I think her name is Kat Tenbarge. I think that's how you say her name. Okay. So what I'm finding out as I'm listening to Alexa, she's talking about it looks to be an investigative journalist. And an investigative journalist decided to ask some questions of Alexa. She was contacted. This is what the email that I've been able to summarize says. Alexa shows this email. and it's from an investigative journalist by the name of Kat Tenbarge, okay, from NBC. Kat is working on this article. Kat, back, I guess, in March, she was contacted by a bunch of people, sounds like in the Eat Predators community. And she basically decided to contact Alexa and had some questions for Alexa. There were some concerns about what was going on with Eat Predators, and it was listed as like a question format. I'm gonna tell you, when I heard about those questions that the journalist was asking Alexa, you know what this reminded me of? I'm not gonna lie, and shout out to Greg. That was Greg knows what I'm talking about. If you watch the replay on this, Greg, um, it reminded me of the questions that we asked of Mike Rinder when it came to Miriam, and Mike Rinder's reaction to those questions. That's what that reminded me of. Okay, now let me be very clear. I am not I don't work for NBC News or anything like that. But the questions at Miriam, in my opinion, were very legit, very much so. And I didn't see this to be any different. I know Alexa took it as these people don't like me. This is why they're asking this. They don't like me much based on the questions. The questions were very pointed. But you guys, I got to remind you, when I asked those questions of Mike Rinder, what was his reaction? I got a letter from an attorney from the Aftermath Foundation and basically said that I need to lie with, I think I was the dog. I can't remember if I was the dog or the flea. Probably both, whatever. Um, But it reminded me of that when I was watching this. I said, oh shit, this is what this is about. And they were asking her questions about, basically the way she runs this organization. And we could read it. I mean, this is on her channel. This is available. She's left it there. She says questions. It says questions for NBC News article about Alexa Nichols' Predator. This is Kat Tenbarge with NBC News in New York. I've been trying to get in contact with Alexa about this over the past couple weeks. I'd be happy to discuss more over a phone call or a call. Our deadline has been extended, yada, yada, yada. In late March, a former member of Eat Predators reached out to me. They shared some concerning information about the group. I started to research and to speak to people who were formerly involved. Now, NBC is working on an article about our findings. Okay. Since the explosive premiere of Quiet on the Set, I've been reporting on the fallout from the docuseries. I worked on this article about Drake Bell. Now, the article that Kat worked on was basically pointing out that some of the that there's this imbalance of Drake Bell victims, the Drake Bell victim getting shitted on because Drake Bell is being kind of shown as being a victim. Okay. So when I was watching the chat in her live, everybody was like, there were some people that were for Kat, some people were against it. Like Superstorm says, I will never support Kat. And then Tico says Kat defended Amber Heard during the trial and said Johnny was an abuser. And it sounds like Kat, journalist that, really participates in different areas here. People have some opinions about how she moves and what, her opinion of her. I don't know. I've never dealt with the woman, so I can only say as an outsider. But she was really going in the comments, and people were really going in at her, and it was just back and forth. It was just back and forth. And by the way, shout out to Tinkle Tits, who's been a member for 19 months. My love, thank you so much for supporting me that long, love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Yeah, that's what they're saying. I think that they called, didn't they? From what I heard Alexa said, they call the Johnny Depp fans deadheads, Deppheads. I've never heard that before. Never heard that before. Yeah, Constance, seems similar to Mike bringing a lawyer so questions won't be asked. Couldn't she have just not answered the questions? She could have. And I don't even think she did all the way. There were some questions. So she shows us some of the questions, and the questions are basically what Kat has researched, what she's bringing about, and I think that Alexa took it as like an offensive thing. I heard that too, B. I heard that too. I don't know what happened with the ins and outs of that. I don't know if she got more information that might have made her change her mind. I'm not really sure. You're a Depp head, I guess. That's what they called him. Hey, Vicky, that's what they called everybody. But anyways, let's keep going with this letter. So in late March, a former member contacted Kat, and since the explosive quiet on the set, yada, yada, yada. I worked on an article. She links the article and basically says, one of the first thing I noticed was that Alexa had pivoted away from supporting Bell's anonymous victim in 2021, the Ohio case, unlisting her YouTube video about it, and then began supporting Bell after Quiet on the Set debuted with its focus on him. All right. So I have since spoken to 5 former members of ePredators, reviewed dozens of hours of Alexa's YouTube content, read and watched news coverage of ePredators, reviewed thousands of social media posts, yada, yada, yada. And also it says that Alexa, there's a connection about Alexa's restraining order against a former ePredator member, as well as of recently, filed a request for a civil harassment restraining order against Alexa. So there's that. There's this restraining order that Alexa has filed. There was a member in the community, okay? And a restraining order had been filed, all right? The restraining order includes Alexa's daughter and her. And I guess, I mean, this is just a level of harassment that Alexa feels she's been receiving. So she's had to basically essentially go into hiding to a certain degree because of this and be really worried for her safety. You know what I mean? So there's been a lot to this. There's been a lot to this for Alexa. And a lot of this is brought up in this live. Alexa and Kat seem unable to understand that men can be victims too, at least related to JD and Aaron. Ooh, wee. Hey, Beetle Beetle says the indifference of good people is why the bad people continue to do bad things. Good people must not be afraid to stand up to them. The indifference of good people is why bad people continue to do bad things. Good people must not be afraid to stand up against them. Okay. Well, thank you for the $4.99. You said, wow, I had no idea this was even going on. You missed it, girl. It's been a lot. It's been a lot. So let's watch a little bit of this. I'm going to give my commentary. Y'all let me know your thoughts. I do want to say this, though, is that Alexa did announce that she was leaving, that this was her last video, which kind of makes me sad because I'm like, girl, come back. Girl, come back. You got a lot to address. Don't leave over what people... Don't leave, if that makes sense. I just think she has a lot of potential, but there's a lot coming at her, in my opinion. I just don't think anybody needs to leave. And I definitely don't think that, I'm not speaking for Adam, but I don't think that that was necessarily his intent. His intent was, to call out some of the stuff that was going on and maybe some of the hypocrisy. Hey, man, it happens to all of us. It happens to all of us. I don't think it requires her to leave. I really don't want her to, but if she does, she does. All this makes you want to smoke. Come to the carpet. I'm saying, you carry yourself in this brand, this ePredators, girl. Don't let anybody. You stand up and you tell them, like, I am the person that is ePredators, right? Nobody's gonna take me down. Nobody's gonna, I'm going to address whatever needs to be addressed. Whatever these people are saying, I'm gonna answer it, and I'm gonna give you the answer. And whether you like it, you like it. You don't, you don't. And then you go from there that way. You know what I mean? Yeah, it seems like she's running away from her problems. It seems like to me too. So I have my issues with how me and some people were treated, but I want to see her grow. I think a lot of us. You can't run from the smoke, I know, Mary Lee, you tell them. I don't think the live format will help how people perceive her. She needs to address certain points in a video and be concise. Yeah. I also think that she is, maybe because of the attacks, she does survive the Kool-Aid. She does have a stalker that was in the community that, and that does happen where the people will, some people will get upset with you and then suddenly they start going to the other side, and there's campaigns against you, there's enticing other people to go after you, and some of it you do have to side eye. If it doesn't speak to your spirit, you shouldn't have to be pushed to something, if that makes sense. But yes, she has a lot of potential, absolutely. Right. You can't make everybody happy. I certainly don't. I piss off a lot of people every day. But at this point, is she eat predators or is she eating with them? Ooh, Jordy T. Ooh, here comes Jordy T. You always take me out with your comments, girl. Jordy T. Whew, there you go, mic drop. At this point, is she eat predators or are you eating with them? That's that point that you can't look away from. You can't. Chico's like, well, listen, piss off. Y'all stay mad. She, you say, sounds like she's eating with snake. The internet is merciless. Yes. Merciless. Yes. That's no lie. So let's get into this, y'all. I'm just giving some commentary on a couple clips. Let me know your thoughts.
I've been trying to get in contact with Alexa about this over the past couple of weeks. Should have tried harder. And I'd be happy to discuss more over a call. Our deadline for a response is Wednesday, April 17th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's the next day. That's less than 24 hours you gave me to respond to this nonsense. We can discuss if more time is needed to respond. In late March, a former member of ePredators reached out to me. They shared more concerning information about the group, and I started to research and speak to people who were formerly involved. Now,
I have to be honest here. I have to be honest here. You have to be honest here. It is not a great look.
No, it's not, because because it was false. So false what you found there. Especially after I made so many YouTube videos breaking down the receipts of your own sources. But you didn't believe a survivor. That's all right, but admit that. And speak to people who
see, here's the deal though. Like, what's the word that I'm looking for? And Mandy and those that are in the chat that you kind of understand, like if you guys can understand this piece. Do people lie about stuff? Yes. Right? And I understand when this is the part that I'm like, oh man, girl, like it takes a lot of guts for survivors to come forward, but expect to be questioned because there are people that have come forward that haven't always been honest about certain things. Do people lie? Yes. Survivors are survivors not only for the things that they've survived, but also for the things that they have to stand up against. So if they get a level of criticism, you either have to sit there and take it, or figure out like what is relatable to me. Those questions that were being asked of Alexa, I understand why she was upset with them, but I think part of it is that she needs to sit down and understand how much of this is actual feedback that's being given to me by those that have been around me, and I haven't been able to consume that. I've been able to consume every other predator, consume them all, right? But if I'm not able to take the feedback from the people that are helping me run this situation, paid, not paid, whatever it may be, you have to kind of like some of it is it feedback, because some of these questions are very legit, and I know she gets very defensive. Part of it is because she's been gone for a couple months, and people are coming for her. I get it. Like, let me show you guys a question here.
restraining order against a former EP member, as well as his recently filed request for a civil harassment restraining order against Alexa. Kat, I hope I never find out you had anything to do with that filing.
Ooh.
Because you know what I thought about? As a survivor, when I was first talking about Milos, So many journalists didn't feel comfortable about publishing an article about what I had to say because it wasn't a legal document. You know, litigation privilege. And they would encourage, if there was a legal document, then I would be able to publish this with more security. Is something okay, Mika?
Yeah.
You know about that, right? It better protects you when you have a legal document. And it was just so weird because that filing happened right around the same time as this email.
Mm.
To be exact, my stalker is such a stalker, it really fucking scares me, that he signed it on my birthday, that filing. Didn't you find that strange, Kat?
Let me ask you guys a question. I don't think she was. I don't think she went, BJ. I don't think she went. I don't think she was even invited. I mean, I know that was it Quiet on the Set that was nominated. I don't think she went. Heidi says there's always people that criticize and degrade victims and survivors. It will always be that way because cognitive dissonance is real, and most people don't want to believe someone that they love is guilty. Absolutely. A celebrity, whatever it may be. But the thing about, the thing about Amber Heard, regardless of where you stand on that argument, you guys got to admit one thing about the Amber Heard thing. The internet did go crazy on the Amber Heard. I wasn't even covering Amber Heard. And I mean, I couldn't stop the feed without like Amber Heard parodies, Amber Heard case coverage, Amber Heard different type of things. Like that was a whole different level. Hate me if you want, but I know I'm not lying when I say that the coverage was pretty immense. Yes, that's why. That must be why people have speculated that it's not Hot Snakes pushing the legal filings for their alleged hit piece. It is girl, yeah, stupid Hot Snakes, and they won. I think. Oh my gosh, are you serious? I know. I'm like, oh my god. I don't know. I think of all that and it makes my head itch, girl. No, you didn't. Did you? Hey, Flash in the Pan. Hey, Bossy. Yeah, full blown circus, girl. Invite the clowns. I know it was a circus when they talked about Amber Heard. I can't be the only one. Yes, you said what now? Now wait a minute. Kat is also a pro Evan Rachel Wood, even after the ERW got busted for faking on the. I heard about that too. This is why I don't I don't know too much about that case other than what I've heard, so I can't speak on that. Maybe she's just pro anybody that'll speak out against anybody. I don't know. I don't know her personally, but if that's what you say, that's what you say. I don't know. Hey, Shrieking Sharon, you said I just know she pooped the bed, and that poor dog didn't deserve the blame. Justice for the dog. On that Amber Heard case. See what I'm saying? Y'all are too much. There's like jokes for this all the time. I can't. It can get annoying when hot takes or hot snakes topics are crammed into every online discussion. What? What you talking about? Even when watching that because we'll blow the whole case. That's right. That's right. Ooh. Baby Bunny's angry. Hold up, y'all. She's arguing with somebody out there.
That he filed that, dated that on my birthday.
Let me ask you, this is what the question I was going to ask everybody. All right. If you guys are journalists, okay, let me ask y'all a question in the chat. If you're a journalist and you're working on a story like this one, okay, and there's a restraining order that was filed, say like you're the one that, you're doing the story, you're investigating everything, you're having to file the person that received you're having to interview the person that received the restraining order, and then also Alexa, like, do you just not interview the other person to get all the story, or yeah, like I had a hard time with this. So people were in the chat were upset with Kat for interviewing, for platforming the person that Alexa filed a restraining order on. But if you're a journalist and you're trying to, maybe get all sides of the story, don't you talk to any alleged perpetrator and survivor and victim? This is where I felt that I felt a little off, because I was sitting there and I was listening to this. I said, wait a minute, if I'm a journalist and I want to get the story from all sides, right? If a murder happened, I want to talk to the murderer and to the victim's family. Wouldn't that be the thing that you do? But I could be wrong. So Alexa's upset with this journalist over this. Really? See, I didn't know that. Ingrid, I didn't know that. Alexa's upset with this journalist because the journalist platform this person who has a restraining order on her and the child. That's what I thought. At least that's my thought. You get every side. At least every side, right? So I could be wrong. I don't know. But I mean, I would want, if you're out there investigating a murder, then you would get all sides. But if you don't get all sides, should you still release the report? But if you don't get all sides, that's a good question. So she's upset over this journalist doing that. Constance says journalism integrity, they are supposed to ask both sides. That's why they give a disclaimer when the other side does respond. So like a journalist, and like I said, I don't know this lady's reputation like that, but I do think that you would get all sides. So if Alexa has a restraining order on this perpetrator person, this victimizer of hers, allegedly, I'm just going to say that because I don't know the person. Don't you want to get their side? Because they were also in the community. That's just my thought. I mean, that's how journalism typically works, but I don't know. Exactly. You said journalism, right, Mo? Journalism. That is definitely the way journalism works, getting both sides of all. I've worked with media for many years, right? So even if it's like a victim and then there's somebody with a restraining order, you talk to both sides to get it. Now, you'd be very careful as a journalist, so you respect the victim's, or survivor victim's situation, right? Like you're not going to disclose to this person where the person lives or any personal information. At the very least, get that side, because that's how you would report stuff. Listen, I didn't go to journalism school, so I'm just throwing that out there. She acts like Kat has some personal knowledge on paperwork being signed on her birthday. Strange. Even if that's the case, is it possible it just fell on her birthday? Or it sounds like Alexa took that as a sign, like, this is weird, Jordy says, I've reached out to blank and they didn't respond back with a comment. There you go. You said, I don't know, but if I don't know all sides, I'm going to speak on it. I don't know if I'm going to speak on it. Gotcha. But that's just me. I can't speak for everybody else. That's true. Using her phone at all would be an issue. Okay, Miranda, say more. It's unethical and considered very weak to only tell one side. When you tell one side, it's editorial. There you go. Honestly, if one of the sides refuses to give a statement as long as you state as much, I see no issues with running with what you have. Absolutely. You have to be skeptical, respectful. Sure, but a reporter must question what they hear. Absolutely, frustrated user. You said it's important to get all sides. That's why we have trials and both hearings until you hear the full story. There's no way to know what truly happened. Absolutely. You said, I don't mind that she got the other side, but do have issues that she only gave Alexa a day to reply. Seems like she doesn't actually want to reply. Ooh. Okay. Yeah. That's a good point. Oh my gosh. Here's shout out to Adam. It says, see, I told you about Brett Lear and no comment. Yes, we're gonna get into that. Well, you brought it up. We were talking about the journalist part. See, Adam, that was news to me. I didn't know until you brought it up, but in that video, and then it was brought up again last night. Alexa did not bring the issue that brought me to even talk about this whole situation. She didn't talk about, whether she allegedly hired this Scientologist supporter, perpetrator, defender by the name of Andrew Brettler. She didn't say that. She skipped over that, didn't answer that, and now we're never going to know. You said her communication with Alexa stemmed much longer than stated, though, by the way. And Adam, I know you've decided not to talk about, like, you're not going to do any more videos on this, which, you know what? I personally, I understand. I will say this. It does seem like Alexa, she looks like she's struggling with some of this, coming to terms with a lot of what's been happening to her. And so I get it. I get it. But I know you've probably been asked a lot, like, are you going to do another video? You going to do another video? Nope, not making up. Yeah. You said not making up a follow-up due to the live stream making no sense. Yeah, there were no answers. And that chat was interesting. I was getting tagged and I was sitting in the bushes just watching. I was I was just sitting in the chat. That's all I was doing. Because I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know what else to do. You said you stand corrected. You said Adam messaged you on Insta yesterday to connect with you and BJ, and now you're both here. I know. You messaged both of us? Oh, you see. I know BJ's in the chat. You said it's very normal to give 1 day reply. Many journalists will only give you an hour. Now I know TC has worked with a lot of journalists and stuff like that. So yeah. What do you guys think? What do you mean throwing oil on the fire and then to shut up? I think one of my subbies here messaged you. Yo. What do you guys that's kind of where we're at. We got no answer about the Scientology stuff. The lawyer. And then it just ended. She looks like she's just exhausted from this. I get that. I get that, but I don't know. You say, I only got 24-hour notice at max when I got asked for comment on Colleen Ballinger thing by main news outlets last summer, so it's normal. Yeah, I guess it's standard. I mean, you're lucky if they even message you. Sometimes they'll just take whatever you say from whatever, like that one quote and that's it, or that clip. And God forbid if they even credit you for saying what you're saying. So you said that's normal on a hot story? Yeah. She did go on holiday somewhere recently, probably Europe, so that was nice. Even Breaking Chain says that you're exactly right, Adam. Typically, that is standard operating procedure. You said if he got the information and sat on it, people would be coming for him over that, in my opinion. What you mean, Cheeks? Let me know. You said, yes, Kat's very anti JD and against those of us who suffered abuse and recognized during the trial. She blocked anyone who disagreed with her. Ooh. See, I don't know. Like I said, I can't speak. I don't have Miss Cat over here. I can't speak for her. And I'm sure, y'all can read her articles. Let me know your thoughts. That's her article. That's what she writes. Bring it up to her. I'm sure hopefully she doesn't block you. I don't know. You said, guys, can I ask a question? Obviously, I feel very involved in this. I'd love to know what your take is on it, on her live stream. Well, how about do you want me to drop the link? Adam, why don't you or do you want to put it in the chat? I just put the link in there for you if you want to hit it. Completely up to you. But feel free to ask a question in the chat or hit the link if you have StreamYard. I mean, I'm kind of curious. No answers? No, Jordy, we cannot. Jordy, come on, Jordy. I just think it was a damn if you do, damn if you don't. Damn if you do. Even Adam, I got my Wim over here saying, Adam, you just threw oil on the fire and this shut up. See, Wim is expecting more from you, Adam. That's what he's saying. He's like, how dare you not do a follow-up? But that's, I don't know. But I did throw the link in there if he wants to hit it, completely up to you. I can also send it to you on Twitter. Hold up. Let me put that in the chat again. Ha ha ha, fair. See? Fair. You did do that though. You did, you started something. And that's why Wim's like, and you just left us like this. But what is the question? Please put it in the chat or hit the link. No, and that is true, Chico. You're right about that. A lot of people, like I said, I'm a watcher. I don't do a lot of reporting on a lot of the e-predator stuff, but they have been tiptoeing around this. Not you per se, but the other players. Yeah, like they have been tiptoeing around a lot of what's been said. So, I get it. Like the people want to know. The people have questions. That's it. Yeah, you said I thought she would bring up each allegations on point one by one and it would be more organized. Yeah, I thought so too, but I don't think when she went I really wish that she would have done much better if she was interviewed. Does that make sense? Adam Wim says at least you're honest. Shout out to Wim. To say Adam is no punk. He will answer questions and be very direct. So I appreciate that from Adam. I feel like this would have been better if she would have just been interviewed. Does that make sense? Like somebody would have been able to kind of like ask her and then, push forward on something and just be like, listen, I really don't want her to leave. I don't even think, Adam, I don't want to speak for you, but I don't think you necessarily want her to leave. That's not the point of this at all. But yeah, I'm kind of curious to know what your guys' thoughts are. Hold on. When you have things to hide, avoidance is key. That's what I've learned. Yes. And sometimes one thing she said on this video too, she talked about taking her time to process her own, trauma, her experience, her situation, how she feels about it. And the thing about this is that the internet is not really supportive of that. Does that make sense? Like, we don't have patience for a lot of things. We don't have patience for a lot of things. We really don't. We don't even have patience for, if somebody's going to talk about something, they're going to talk about something. They need to bring facts, receipts, right? But we don't really have a lot of patience for anybody or any time for anybody to process. We just want to get to the point, especially when things are happening so loudly here, You said absolutely, yes, absolutely. Interview would have been great, but in her current state, she might be too defensive. I don't think she's ready for that, but I do think that when she's ready, somebody needs to interview her that would be able to kind of peel through some of this. Because, like I said, I don't want her to leave. I really like Alexa. I think Alexa has a very unique brand in this, and she's a force to be reckoned with, but she needs to figure this out a little bit more. And part of it is maybe her coming into terms with what she needs to accept as the leader of this group, or the CEO or whatever it may be of e-predators. There's some things that need to be maybe understood and evaluated. I also think she would benefit from a person that like an advisor that's independent of friendships, independent of that she's not paying. Don't let nobody she's paying. That's not necessarily associated with their channel, but that's able to understand the ins and outs of what's going on. That'd be great for her, You said you're kidding. My internet goes down for 5 seconds. I'm raging. Yes. You said it was really hard to watch. I didn't think she was very kind to her subscribers or to Adam. Kind of rude, says Brooke. Yeah, I think it was a very reactive move. Hey, Burden. Very reactive mood, I would say. She's reactionary. Which, is unfortunate. But I think, she just needs some time to really process. She does need to leave to heal. She's not over it and needs to work through it to get through it. That's a good point, Heather. Maybe taking a longer break. And I'm not talking about just on Twitter. I'm talking about all social media, because you never know. Maybe being able to see a little bit more clear might be helpful. But yeah, that's how I feel. Well, I'm not hearing back from Adam anymore. Maybe he disappeared because he said he had a question for us. Guys, can I ask a question? Obviously, I feel very involved in this, so I'd love to know what your take is on this and our live stream as a whole. We never heard back. Unfortunately, gets shit on a lot. Yes. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. So I'm saying, I'm like, I don't know how he does it. And then another stream, and then there's another stream. Hey, muckers. Yada, 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 yada. Hey, muckers. Yada, yada, yada. What do you think about this? And let me tell you about this. Yeah, kind of like that. You said free Adam. Well, there you go. He was asking how we felt about her stream. That's the question. Because I felt like, was there more to the question, or that was it? Okay, guys, can I ask a question? Obviously, I feel very involved. What is your take on this and her stream as a whole? What do you guys think? That was the question. I thought there was more to this question. Okay. We just went through it a little bit. I think in this stream specifically wasn't her best. Okay. But I don't want her to leave. That's just my thought, because I don't want anybody to leave. Well, what do you guys think? If you can give, if you guys in the chat can give maybe some advice or some thoughts. You said her stream sort of stands on its own. No? What more could Adam add? Thank you. I think so. You said it was so sad to watch. It seems we've gotten who the real enemy was. Really, Jessica? Say more. People need receipts one way or another. You said, I think she gave no answer and she needs to take some time. I hope she comes back when she is better. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. There's nothing more to this. It sounds like she needs to come to terms with a lot of things. But like I said, I hope she doesn't leave, because I do think that she can be a really good asset to a lot of people. But I think that maybe some rebranding might be helpful for her too. And I'm not talking about just like a name change whatsoever. I'm just meaning like in general, like maybe some approach, something to that effect, and then somebody to talk to about it. Folks just need to address it head on and not this tippy-toeing shit. Yes. When she said that, she didn't know about Drake Bell until 10 hours. So then you have 10 hours to figure out how you're going to talk to your audience about what you participated in. So then you have 10 hours to figure out how to address some of the issues. I'm not going to tell her she shouldn't have privated the video. I'm going to tell, because this is why I'm not going to tell her that. But she already did it. Who am I to tell her what to do? But I think that it shouldn't have been private. It should have just been left up. Why not? Even if you change your mind, because then there would be a follow-up video about, hey, let me tell you guys what I thought about this a year ago or 6 months ago, and let's review it together, and let me tell you kind of where we're at, what's going on. It could have been that. You know what I mean? And then it would have been a different conversation. It would have been like, oh, okay, like this is how I felt, guys. This was my logic 6 months ago, a year ago on this Drake video. This is where I'm at right now. This is my logic now. But I'm wondering too, now this is a question that I do have for Alexa. I don't want to assume. Okay. I don't want to assume this, but part of me feels like I wonder if she was made to put it private. And if that is the case, she could say that too. Like, listen, guys, I was made to put it private, but I want to talk about it, and then go about it that way, right? I don't know. Why she was made, I'm not really sure. This is just me speculating, talking out of my head, you know? She does need more time to process. Yes. It shows humility. Yeah, when you private a video like that. Hold up, guys. When you private a video like that, you know, people aren't going to forget, especially if it's like pertaining to who it was. But it would have really worked in her favor had she just said, like, I want to, you know, let's review this together. Like, this is how I felt a month ago. I don't feel this way now. Hi. Do you have something to say? Yeah. Okay. Don't close the door. What? Okay. Sorry, guys. She was like, she wanted to say hi to the camera, and I was not going to let her do that because she does the most. I know. She does the most. I'm like, what do you want? What are you doing here? Okay. Anyway, so let me finish up. But that's just my thought on that. That's my thought on that. That's all I could say about that. Baby Bunny CO runs the channel. If you don't know, yeah, she does. I don't understand why she needs to go away. It's clear the Quiet on the Set documentary set up some of these activists for failure. I agree. Maybe things could have been handled better. Yeah, I don't think she needs to go away. I don't. I hope she figures this out. But you know what? And I know you guys are talking about Kat. Let me just say this: whether it's Kat or another journalist, a journalist is going to journal. They're going to do what journalists do, don't they? I mean, you guys, like, I don't really care that it's this Kat person. Yeah, I don't know her. Other than the articles that she has, you know, written. But does it really matter at the end of the day? Because it could have been a different journalist. We don't, this journalist, another journalist, whatever it may be. It's unfortunate that she felt that way, but you know, I'm just gonna say that. You said, I can't tell someone what to do when I don't have all the information, but my policy is to keep things clear. Yes. Mm-hmm. If there are things that need to stay confidential, that's something else. Absolutely. Journalists journal, but who's paying her to journal? There's that. And like I said, that could be anybody else. All right, Jessica, so are you saying that there's somebody else that's behind the scenes? When you say it like that, you said that she's not trying to get, but you could say that about a lot of journalists too. You know, there's not a lot of good journalism out there. And I don't know Kat like that to say that, but that's what I'm going to say about that. You know, just my thought. All right, guys, I gotta go because I gotta go tend to Baby Bunny. But you guys, let me know your thoughts. Sorry, I had to step out because of Baby Bunny. I told you guys I was gonna do commentary on this, and it sounds like I don't think Adam's gonna do any more videos, which is fine. Absolutely. Shout out to him and thank you for stopping by. Shout out to everybody in the chat, guys. Thank you. Shout out to BJ who also stopped by. And then shout out to you guys. Thank you, guys. I'm out of here because I gotta go tend to the Baby Bunny. Bye. Where is my oh, you know what? Let me shout out. Hold up. Wim, Jill, Crafting, Emily, thank you for being a member for 4 months. Mandy, thank you. Tinkle Tits, thank you. Beetle, thank you. You guys are amazing. Thank you, guys. I will see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.